you need to turn night into day. I know you're leaving, I wish you could stay, but there are more important things in life. Prices to pay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Legacy YouTube channel. My name is D-Bake, and today we are doing another episode of the Forbidden Scrolls. We're talking about a little book called ET 101, the Cosmic Instruction Manual for Planetary Evolution. I'm joined by my brother Gary Haskins, Magma Sloth, aka Tyler Barker, Mr. Lucky, my brother from another, and you know Tay Chilla, he's always with me. I like this book because it talks about all those cool celestial concepts and it says it in like a quirky, funny way. I would recommend this book to someone who's, getting into spirituality and this entire cosmic thing we talk about. This would be a good introductory book before you dive into the very, deep Keys of Enoch, Urantia Book, Law of One type stuff.
It's 101.
It's 101, exactly. It's the introductory course. Either way, if you've already gone down those deep rabbit holes such as the Urantia Book, you can definitely pick this up and read it, and you're going to get a kick out of it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe so you stay up to date with all these cosmic broadcasts. And let's go. ET 101, the Cosmic Instruction Manual for Planetary Evolution, an emergency remedial Earth edition. Co-created by Mission Control and Zoev Joe.
This is an intergalactic council transmission.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, who wants to read first? Me? Anybody?
I can take it.
You can go.
The mission. Or I guess this is before the actual reading, some introductory information. The mission. The mission to planet Earth was initiated by requests of the planet herself. Earth has asked, and the stellar councils have granted an evolutionary leap. Over the last millennium, Earth has been preparing for our advent. It is now time to enter the Earth plane, to reclaim this planet in the name of the forces of light, and to open her doors to the cosmic community in which she resides. We congratulate and salute those of you throughout the universes who have volunteered for this assignment. Go with our blessing. And remember, read the manual before you get there. Although you are veterans of countless successful missions to numerous dysfunctional life support systems, watch out for this one. This edition of the manual is specifically designed for this planetary system, a system which defies all true rationality and has raised dysfunctionality to an art form. It is also one of the few systems where telling the truth is covertly considered a creative act. Because of the inherent hazards of this planet, Mission Control will not be responsible for any members of this mission who do not thoroughly acquaint themselves with the material contained in this special edition. Mission Control. So that's to all you starseeds out there, all you light workers, everybody who considers them a co-creator of heaven on planet Earth. If you didn't read the manual and the other manuals, you're fucking up. Sorry, I don't want to say it like that, but that's how it is.
We're going to get you back on track today, though.
Exactly. I like how they say that telling the truth is covertly considered a creative act. Feels a lot like what we're doing now.
Covert.
Creative imagination. There it is again.
Yep. So, special note from the publisher. Although you were warned to acquaint yourselves with the original manual before departing, a great number of you did not. If you've seen one manual, you've seen them all, has proved to be a cavalier attitude that many of you have lived to regret. Even though most of you are too stunned and dazed by the process to remember just exactly what it is you are regretting. Being 400 light years from home and suddenly wondering, did I forget my toothbrush, is both annoying to Mission Control as well as useless to the mission. So for those of you who left your galaxy without it, an unprecedented reprinting of the manual has been authorized by the mission's governing councils. This is the remedial version of the original manual because you could not possibly handle the unexpurgated version at this time. This edition is the official American and Canadian translation, written in the vernacular and made current to your circumstances. It is the strong recommendation of the councils Now that you have yourselves totally disassembled, why not take a moment to read the instructions? It is, after all, at your request that we had them written. From the Intergalactic Council, on behalf of the Confederated Intra-Universal Councils, the United Star Alliances, and the Greater Interdimensional Federation of Light. Amen.
Nice.
Say that at the end of every prayer.
Thus said the Lord.
A word from Mission Control. And by the way, everybody, we are reading it online, but we do recommend go getting yourself a copy. Here it is right here.
Yeah.
Very small, easy to read. Keep it on you, man. Keep that Cosmic Construction manual on you. Keep that thing on you, dog. Might run up on you. You better be strapped. A word from Mission Control. Mission Control is the tactical arm of the extraterrestrial mission to planet Earth. We implement the decisions of the Stellar Council and act as an intermediary between the members of the mission who have opted for infantry duty on the planet's surface, and those who are serving the mission in any of its many off-planet divisions. It is our responsibility to maintain all communication systems amongst the vast forces that have now gathered in this planetary arena. Our purpose is to assist the planet and its inhabitants into a new consciousness and reality. Our prime directive is to coordinate the movements that Spirit orchestrates. We are here to assure that the decree of the High Spiritual Court is implemented and that the veils of the third dimension are parted so that light can enter. We have overseen the writings of this version of the Cosmic Instruction Manual at the request of the Intergalactic Council. We have done so because it is our mandate to assist all mission members in the successful completion of their many and varied assignments. Our instructions are to be a guiding force for this mission. Our status is servant to Spirit. This is Mission Control speaking. We now end this transmission.
Nice.
Oh, that's kind of a pretty cool little intro. I do like how it's organized. You know, it implies a sense of organization. You know, like governmental governmental or universal government organization, just like the Urantia book kind of implies that too. You know, like you're very surprised when you read the Urantia book how organized the Celestials are. And
yeah, this little book, I like how goofy it is, but it includes basically a lot of those truths and kind of perspectives you get from reading many of those channeled works. But the author's very aware of how kind of goofy and far out all of it is, so they're very tongue-in-cheek as they're writing it.
Exactly, yes. They have to mix the humor with the seriousness so as people don't get so crazy about it, like fanatical.
And that makes it compelling reading.
Exactly, yes. That's why I love it so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
like I like the premise of this book already. It's talking about how, like, you know, we are celestial beings. We're more than what we think we are, and we're here for our mission. I really like that. Another kind of cross correlation that I have with another text that we've been reading on the channel is the Urantia book. Some texts that we all hold dearly. It talks about a similar concept in paper 114, Planetary Seraphic Government. And it talks about a thing called the Cosmic Reserve Corps. And it says right here in 114.713, the Cosmic Reserve Corps of universe-conscious citizens on Urantia now numbers over 1,000 mortals, whose insight of cosmic citizenship far transcends the sphere of their terrestrial abode. But I am forbidden to reveal the real nature of the function of this unique group of living beings. And I'm not going to read the rest of the paper, but this is a cryptic part of the text because it says the Cosmic Reserve Corps numbers over 1,000. And the Urantia book, they have a total thing called the Urantia Reserve Corps, which is only about 900-something people. So there's two different divisions of human beings that are active as, I guess, boots on the ground, troops, infantry, that are on the planetary surface, who are kind of like, we're the arms and legs for the higher-ups, for the Celestials. We can actually get shit done physically here. The Urantia book states that there's two divisions, a Urantia Reserve Corps and a Cosmic Reserve Corps. And it's very cryptic. It doesn't tell you very much. It says that I am forbidden to reveal the real nature of the function of this unique group of living human beings. I'm trying to make that cross comparison with what this ET 101 is saying, just for shits and gigs, because that's how you can tie it in. Like maybe there are high adjusters from other places that got routed to our planet, so that personalities are on a special mission. Maybe there are different types, there are different emergency protocols that the universe has at their disposal in order to overcome rebellion, and that you, the light workers, the star seeds, anybody watching this video couldn't be a part of. So yeah, just trying to cross correlate the different texts.
Yeah, there's a good connection with that paper 114 with this text here.
Right.
As I see it as messaging, and we're messengers, and the Celestials are taking advantage of the technology that we now have available. It's available to them as well. Like we're conferencing, we're all across the country here, being able to talk about this. We can never do that 10 years ago, even. Would be very difficult. So these ideas now can spread really fast,
Right.
and we can have discussion about them. Never could occur before. And this messaging is happening on many different fronts, and it's very, very similar messaging.
Yeah, up until now, a lot of these books would sit in an obscure bookstore, and maybe small circles of people would kind of know about it. But now we can all come together as like our own intelligence agency and exchange ideas.
Well, yeah, I'm going to disperse this and amongst some of the other study groups that I go to, and start talking about it and sharing the ideas. And it's cool. Is there a PDF version of this?
You can probably find one. You're using the web version, right?
Yeah, this is a web. This is kind of like a
you could find one.
multimedia.
You can
version.
download it from the archive. That link. Also, can you guys hear the drums in the background when I'm talking?
No.
No.
No, perfect. That's so my brother's playing drums in the other room, but I have that AI software which actually cuts that out.
Oh yeah, I can.
That's pretty surprising.
Can't hear shit.
That's wild. Like he's literally right in the next room.
Got some more drums.
Okay.
But that archive link, you can definitely download it from there. Let me check.
Yeah, I just did.
Options. Yeah, you can download EPUB. You can download a PDF.
Okay.
Or you can buy the book. Support Mission Control and Zove, guys. Come on.
Absolutely.
Cool cover.
We should maybe even email them, contact them, just be like, hey, we made this video. I'm sure they'll approve.
Yeah,
the Intergalactic Council would approve.
Exactly. We're the same boss,
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let it rip.
Go.
Here we go. How to use the manual. This manual is not a rule book, nor does it tell you how many angels are on the head of a pin and which dimension that pin is in. It also offers no street maps of the dimensions to satisfy your linear thinking minds. This manual is a tool to awaken you to what you already know. It is an aid in accessing the real inside information, not an outside authority with the latest ism in which you should believe. Because we do not wish this manual to be misused, we have deliberately left out some information. If you find yourself wanting more answers than this manual offers, don't just stand there like a jerk. Go inside and ask for those answers. Whatever is appropriate for you to know will be given. Mission Control would like you to be aware that we not only stand behind our product, but we also stand beside you as rated.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Angels,
cool.
the background.
Right.
We would also like to make it clear that although you may consider this manual a New Age publication, we do not. That is because what you are calling New Age is just the final manifestation of the Old Age. Since the New Age is still about religious belief systems, as asserted by outside authorities, we find it neither new nor much better than anything else you believe in. We prefer to think of ourselves as sacred cowpokes on a sacred cow herd, and our manual as a sacred cow-punching device. We believe that would make this publication more post-New Age than anything.
See, that's my type of vibe right there.
How you end up classifying this manual is less important than how you end up using it. It is our suggestion that you use it as a tool to awaken yourself, not as a new doctrine to continue to snooze by. This is Mission Control saying, yeehaw.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's cool, man. I like that, and I like how they talk about like if you find yourself wanting more, like don't be a jerk. Like find it. There's more out there. We can mission control. We'll give it to you. Like it's not saying like this isn't the end all be all.
It's not even out there. It's in there. That's what they're saying. Go within.
Amen to that.
Ask and you shall receive.
There it is.
Does this sound kind of interesting to you guys? Like the way it's written? You guys pick up anything? Because like something I kind of noticed was like that quirkiness of writing, and almost I'm going to throw it out there, kind of like how a Midwayer might write, if that makes sense.
Yes, Midwayers are kind of real characters.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Because they're so friggin' old. They're like 33,000 years old. If you don't have a sense of humor after 33,000 years,
right.
How can you even make it? Yeah,
Jester like
that little sarcasm up. That I respond to sarcasm.
Yeah, right. Me too. It's quirky. Yeah. They've been on planet for a while. I'm sure they have really developed.
And we got what is it? The Midwayers. They appreciate like the human humor.
Yes.
It even says that the lower angels like they sort of vibe with our humor. Like they get it. Even though we're not super high advanced in art and stuff, they still like appreciate our efforts and they have an interest as well. Now, I don't want to take away the authors. Also, the author, the scriber is a human as well. So maybe some of this is their good humor. But like, I will say this book is right now opening with this acknowledgement of the paucity of human language, which a lot of other cosmic texts will open up like that. They make these acknowledgements to make sure that you don't put this up on a pedestal because like one, the language barrier is so insane. And so they even say that our language and our consciousness is toxic. The Intergalactic Council does not use spoken language, and this presents two problems. So like they start out with that. So the opening paragraph of the Urantia book does the same thing. It says that like we were authorized to translate this into English, but there are many like problems in dealing with the language barrier.
Exactly. And on the Mansion worlds, some of the best humorous celestial artisans are from Urantia.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about, right?
Yeah.
And another quote I want to pull from the Urantia book, from the Midway papers, paper 7788. It says, contact personalities. In the contacts made with immortal beings of the material worlds, such as with the subject through whom these communications were transmitted, the Midway creatures are always employed. They are an essential factor in such liaisons of the spiritual and material levels. So we got to keep that in mind. It says the Midwayers are always employed during these types of contacts.
They're the workers.
So if this book is really like somewhat of a channeled material from a legitimate galactic council, then the Midwayers are assisting with through the author as the intermediary, which is probably why some of the way this is written sounds like some of these other cosmic texts in the framing.
And at the very least, I think it's clear the author has probably delved into the hundreds of esoteric books out there and compiled a lot of that wisdom and is able to put it in one condensed little spot that you can pick up, and it kind of is an instruction manual. So then if you were to go and read any of those other really heavy hitters like the Urantia book or the Keys of Enoch or something, or some of those other ones, the channeled works like the Law of One, the Course in Miracles and stuff, and it kind of has some of those common themes strung throughout all those that kind of give
you of Errol Strider.
I've heard of him. I don't.
He's a Urantia book reader who is an actor.
Yeah.
And back in the 70s, he would put together little sketches, and he had.
We're about to start doing that over here.
He had one called the Traveler, which was just a monologue that he would do, and it was kind of along the same lines as what we're reading. This could very well been written by a Urantia dude somewhere.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying like that he's an example of what could
His
happen. And this is
example of the
another
creative
example of imagination. Okay,
of
that's fucking
of
tight,
using
dude.
the creative imagination to portray truth.
Yeah. And the Urantia Book itself
Mr. Loki,
says that like there's continuing revelation, you know? Like,
start us off here on the Intergalactic New Collegiate Dictionary. Because human languages are not designed to grasp many concepts outside the current fixated, fear-ridden, and toxic consciousness, and also because we do not use spoken language, this manual presents us with some interesting problems. Dealing in the currency of your linguistic systems is doubly difficult because the inversion of your energy has twisted all logical meaning. For instance, the people of this planet stand in total arrogance, adamantly denying their omnipresence. They declare their separation from themselves, each other, and all life while passing this off as an act of humility. Humility is not denial. Separation is denial. And maintaining that separation is the ultimate act of pride.
This quote here, they declare their separation from themselves, each other, and all life while passing
All right,
this
one
off
second,
as an
actually,
act of
Taylor.
humility. Humility is not denial. Separation is denial.
Yes.
And maintaining that separation is the ultimate act of pride.
Yes.
This phrasing here tells me that I think the author has read A Course in Miracles, because the whole separation theory and denial and the unconscious self, those are like real big concepts from A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles is also written as like an instruction manual, so I imagine that the author takes this part about separation, those concepts directly from there.
This is going to be fun reading this as well-read readers of weird books like us, because we're probably going to notice all kinds of little hints all throughout the.
And directly, like exactly what Taychilla was talking about. The second I read this paragraph, I was like, "Oh crap! This is exactly how the Urantia Book starts." Like talking about like our linguistic systems, and it's hard for them to pretty much put their concepts into our phraseology and words. If you don't mind, I'm just going to read the first paragraph of the forward for the Urantia Book. Forward.
Okay.
In the minds of the mortals of Urantia, that being the name of your world, there exists great confusion respecting the meaning of such terms as God, divinity, and deity. Human beings are still more confused and uncertain about the relationships of the divine personalities designated by these numerous appellations. Because of this conceptual poverty associated with so much ideational confusion, I have been directed to formulate this introductory statement in explanation of the meanings which should be attached to certain word symbols, as they may be hereinafter used in those papers which the Orvanton Corps of Truth Revealers have been authorized to translate into the English language of Urantia. You know?
That's one of my favorite beginnings of any book, in the minds.
I know, in the minds. Yeah, right. I'll read the second one too. It is exceedingly difficult to present enlarged concepts and advanced truth in our endeavor to expand cosmic consciousness and enhance spiritual perception, when we are restricted to use a circumscribed language of the realm. But our mandate admonishes us to make every effort to convey our meanings by using the word symbols of the English tongue. We have been instructed to introduce new terms only when the concept to be portrayed finds no terminology in English, which can be employed to convey such a new concept partially or even with more or less distortion of meaning. So, there's a Urantia Book using that word distortion again. I love it. It starts off the same. The Urantia Book, one of the most unique and wild text to ever exist, also starts off similar to this. The extraterrestrials and the celestials, they don't speak English, and our words are so crude. We don't have words to convey a lot of the concepts that they use on a regular basis, so they have a hard time translating these concepts into our English language, and that's where the Midwayers come in. That's why they're indispensable to this process.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I try to speak Spanish, like I'm good at it, but there's certain things I can't say, and I see another Spanish speaker who's native say it, and I get what they say. I'm like, dang, you can only say that if you're really well versed in the language,
Yeah, because speaking a foreign language, you have to try to think about comparing it to your language, but when you're a native speaker, it's the stuff that subconsciously just bubbles up.
Yeah, and you're like, oh wow, that's tight. Like the slang that the Mexicans use and stuff. You're like, wow, that's cool. That's a cool way to say it.
They use a lot of words that don't make sense out of context unless you know the context behind it.
And same with us for our slang. Same with us. But
Well,
all right, let's keep going.
your institutions operate in the same backward manner. Thus, you have a national security system that is actively engaged in killing everybody, a federal drug administration that has all but recommended motor oil for dietary use because it is low in polyunsaturates, and an economic system that has convinced everyone that life is bad for the economy. As you see, it may be difficult to use your language and still hope to express the truth. Certain terms need new definitions. Before you begin this reading, they follow. Note: some mission members have retained their extraterrestrial sense of meaning and may find this section a drag. Others have forgotten everything and require some reconstructive surgery. For that reason, we have highlighted the key definition, or as close as we can approximate a key definition in this language, with italics, so that readers may either skim or read this section as they wish. Yes, definitely a little Urantia vibes right there.
Right, dude? And like super midwayer.
Certain terms need new definitions.
See how they say like extraterrestrial sense of meaning? Remember that. You know, the Urantia book talks about thing, meaning, value. That's the way the extraterrestrials and the celestials look at reality. You'll notice that theme and you're going to be like, wait a second. It's kind of trippy. I really like what Taylor was focusing on earlier, that last part of the first paragraph, because I see that all the time in my life. People declaring their separation from themselves and each other. Like, you know, when it happens a lot in the South, the chip on your shoulder, chip off your shoulder mentality. You're like, nope, I don't need to do all that. Nope, I'm gonna just stay in my path. You know, like they don't. It's easier to deny things, and they pass that off as humility. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're being a humble man. I don't need all that. You know, I'm just gonna cut my grass, man a few words.
Yeah.
I just use my. They're thinking about too much. They're doing too much. I'm just gonna be simple. You know, keep it simple. And they puff their chests out when they do that. And to me, that's stagnation. Yeah, that's ultimate pride. You're declaring separation, dog. That's not something to be like prideful about. You should be prideful about going out and talking to people, integrating with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, not isolating yourself.
It's good. We build our integrity and build skills, but to offer those skills to others, not just build our own little isolated corner of the world.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And pride goes before a fall. Right? It's not a trait
so,
that
like,
you really
people
want to embellish or, you know.
But maintaining
we love to
that
complain.
dude.
We love to complain and sort of cut ourselves off from the world, and then forever comment how bad it all is. But like, actually, this book, it sparks you up, and it's like, you're here to participate, even though this is a toxic planet, and you need to operate by these principles. Otherwise, you're gonna get stuck. And this is why you should have read this beforehand, because you know you may have been stuck for many years at some point, even now. And it's like, instead of separating yourselves from the society, is like, team up with the other people who want to make it better, and only focus on what you can do to make it better. So yeah, these principles are going to unfold in a way that's going to make you want to act, you want to participate.
And then the personality that prevails all too often, especially in the South, they consider you naive for thinking like that. You're dumb for wanting to participate. You're wasting your time. You know what I'm saying? It's annoying.
One note I would like to make is sorry, you go, Gary.
I was going to say it's Satanism.
Oh yeah,
jeez.
Yeah. You just
it is.
Put the word right to it. Yeah.
I mean, he took pride to the level 10.
Yeah.
And a note I would like to make, because already they mentioned institutions. I think one of our biggest problems as a species, as individuals of this race, is we all push off responsibility on someone else. And that's why we have these institutions. We hope the government will take care of it. Some company will take care of it. Someone else will take care of our problems. And then when we see somebody's struggling and suffering and no one's helping them, we still hope, well, maybe some charity will help them, maybe some other agency will help them, but I'm too busy living my life. But when we can reach a moment where we come together and we all take on responsibility for all of our problems in our life, that's how we move our species forward.
Yeah, you're right.
Amen.
Stop suffering.
If we can
Well,
genuinely
Come
do that.
together.
We are the agency.
The point of that too
In 10
is
years,
that
boys, we're going to be running for office, dog.
we,
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be like the 55th president. I don't even what number are they on now. My campaign's been running.
46 right now.
Yeah,
part
I'm not
of
old
it
enough
is
yet,
learning
man.
to
I am.
draw on our spiritual agency. That is, our seraphim and our thought adjuster. It's not like we're not alone. We don't have to figure it all out ourselves. We have a lot of resources available. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah,
that
take the
there's
leap.
so much universe resources put into us as individuals. The fact that we can
Mhm.
actually consult deity on a anytime,
Yeah.
any day, any time.
Right, that's pretty crazy.
That's
That's
amazing.
powerful.
It's super powerful.
Yeah.
And we are meant to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're built to do this. This is our function.
Design the whole
That's what we're
orientation
supposed to do.
Yeah,
of this planet is designed for that process.
we're living
to
in
take
distortion. Thanks,
We are
Caligastia.
servants.
Thanks, Lucifer. All right, who's reading next?
I can read.
All right. Since we're talking about
Level 1.
Urantia linguistics in English, school us, ETs.
Level 1. Words. Look, Jane. See Spot run. Extraterrestrial. An extraterrestrial is not an alien. An alien is an alien. An extraterrestrial is a responsible citizen of the cosmos, not a foreigner adrift among the stars. Extraterrestrials are representatives of light, protectors of life, and lovers of the planets. They are indigenous to any planet they happen to be on by virtue of their citizenship,
Amen, dog.
regardless. Amen. Regardless of their planet of origin. Many of you have come to believe that you feel so connected to the Earth and love her so much. May we suggest that if you love this planet at all, you are an extraterrestrial. May we also suggest that your concern for this planet was so great that you cared enough to send the very best, in this case, yourself.
Hey.
Heating up. Alignment, not lineage, defines the meaning of the term extraterrestrial. Although all life emanates from the same source, not all life is aligned with that source. An extraterrestrial is a being who is in sympathetic harmony with the essence of its genesis. Oof, that one's
Right.
powerful.
I know, right?
That's a nice
gangster, huh? So gangster the way they put that.
Essence of its genesis. In the essence, its source,
Source, yeah, we identify with the source, and I like that. Like, maybe we suggest if you love this planet at all, you are an extraterrestrial. Because in order to love the planet, that statement means you're separate from it. So you're extraterrestrial. You're extra. You're right. In order to love it, you need to be separate from it, or else you're part of the planet.
I was hoping you'd break that down. Is it like, in y'all's interpretation, is that saying as an extraterrestrial, you don't identify with this planet, you're representing something higher?
Oh, so you're not a rock stuck to the ground.
Yeah.
Extra
I think it's
planetary.
applying its own definition for sure. It's like extra. It's like terrestrial plus cosmic citizen makes you not just a terrestrial, makes you extra.
Extraterrestrial. There you go. Yeah, all these ways are the right way. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Meld them concepts into one and create a super concept. But yeah, an extraterrestrial is a being who's in sympathetic harmony with the essence of its genesis, identifying with the cosmic father. Fuck yeah. And I want to say this too, Gary. You said heating up, and that's such a New Englander thing to say. I'm waiting for on fire.
Is it really?
I mean, last time when I went to school over there, we played beer pong and all this shit. We always be like heating up. Or like
Heating up. Oh yeah, yeah. When you get
on fire.
Yeah, when you get like 2 in a row.
You call on fire.
On fire. It's not fire. It's fire.
Fire.
Okay.
Sorry. You're right. I've been out for a while. I've been out
On fire. That's funny. Heating up. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh man. Somebody else want to go, or should I keep going?
I guess I'll do Alien. I'll jump in this. Wait, Mr. Lucky, have you read yet?
No, I haven't read.
You
I'll
want to
go.
do
Do you want to?
Alien. The people of this planet have expressed a certain neurotic fear about an alien invasion. That fear has been triggered by a nagging sense that in a limitless universe, there just might be other intelligent life. In a typically xenophobic and self-serving response, governments are arming against what they already know to be true. This, of course, is not general knowledge, but in paternalistic systems of government, important information is never general knowledge. In the name of national security, the acts of government are often hidden from the governed.
Dang.
This statement is not so to make you paranoid or stir you to political revolt. It is simply to demonstrate to you the behavior of an alien and the meaning of the term.
Ooh.
You need not scour the skies for evidence of an alien invasion. Look around you instead. Look at those who are peddling fear, vending death, and poisoning the planet. Look at those who hide the truth so that the power they have derived from lying will not be
Damn.
threatened. Ooh.
Right.
And look at those sadly separated beings that have the audacity to gaze out upon the created universe, wondering if there could possibly be anyone else out there, all the while arming just in case there is. This is the alien invasion you worry about, the one you externalize and fear. It is also the one that surrounds you and the one you have been living out for thousands of years.
Mm.
There is no point in fearing an invasion of aliens since the invasion has already happened and the aliens are already here. You would be better advised to fear that no true intelligence will ever show up or this planet show up on this
Yeah,
planet.
man, it's a typo. Yeah.
And you would be even better advised not to fear anything at all.
And man, there we go. Not to fear anything at all. And that's
So that's really
and that's where I transition to the Urantia book from paper 48 from the Monochromatic. Number 2.
ooh, you're pulling up some quotes.
Few persons live up to the faith which they really have. Unreasoned fear is a master intellectual fraud practiced upon the evolving mortal soul. Unreasoned fear is a master intellectual fraud. Don't give in to fear. The Urantia book says that all the time. Jesus' watchword, fear not, on my wrist. Fear not. Never. Don't give into that shit. Shit's fake. From the same paper, number 19. Anxiety must be abandoned. The disappointments hardest to bear are those which never come. We're always in anxious fear, but it never happens. Relax, guys. It's same
Amen.
thing right here, dude. Do not be afraid. Don't be a fear. You'd be better advised to not fear anything at all. No fear.
So then, this definition of alien is basically saying you're viewing everyone else as a stranger, and you're a stranger. You're an alien by being a stranger.
Mhm.
I guess like that Pink Floyd song, Us and Them. It's that us versus them mentality. Other
yes.
nations on this planet are aliens to us. Those the Chinese, the Russians, the Mexicans, they're aliens to us, and likewise they all view the same way.
Yep.
Obviously, we got to be smart about how we interact with each other, and we can't just all sit around and say kumbaya. But
Yeah.
there's a way to that, and I think, of course, that is us all taking responsibility. But it's interesting that we can view everyone on this planet as a family member, and sometimes, like in your family, you might have a family member that's kind of on a bad path. They're an alcoholic or something, and let's say they want to move in with you and live rent free or something like that, and they're your family, but you can't just give them everything and let them completely take advantage of you. You have to draw the line, but they're still your family, and you can still be there to support them in whatever way. It's complicated, but we're family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a dysfunctional family.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's obviously boundaries we have to put up just to maintain order. But going to the fear, look at it says in those bold and italics, look at those who are peddling fear, vending death and poisoning the planet. Those are those big corporations, those are big business, the families that own the military industrial complex that literally get paid every time a bullet gets shot. Think about that. If you get paid every time a bullet gets shot, what do you want to happen?
More irritant.
If
Crash
you, if you, exactly, if
yeah.
you get paid for the jet fuel, what do you want to happen? If you get paid for the tank fuel, what do you want to happen? If you get paid for all this defense stuff, it needs to be used in what? Combat, war. Then it says, look at those who hide the truth so that the power they have derived from lying will not be threatened. It's crazy, dude. Just lying to go to war.
Mhm.
Not telling us that we're in the same cosmic family. We're part of the same species. You know, we have
Yeah.
aliens on the planet right now. Those people who are doing that to us. So
That's some black magic, man.
they're alien. They're alien to the cosmos.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it.
Your light.
Very creative.
Yep.
You would be better advised to fear that no true intelligence will ever show up on this planet.
Yeah, I know. That's morphs.
How many years, how many civilizations have we lost from the great heights of Egypt and Atlantis to the former days of Dalmatia? And now look where we are.
And now look at us. Now look where we are. You know.
Back to retrogression and repeating. The top, one of the top sort of countries, you know, in I guess GDP, wealth, technology, America has been around for like 200 years.
Yeah.
You know, look at that. Like, it's a cycle. And it's not one of intelligence. It's one of destruction and rebuilding, and you know, we're trying to find a concept that can run society, ideals that can run society for extended period of time without it dissolving, finding something that's not built on a false premise. But this book is saying that like our false premise is one of denial, separation, and being aliens to the cosmos.
Yep.
To the order of the cosmos, the galactic family.
Yeah.
What it takes to work together.
Not aligning with the trend of the universe.
And it perpetuates our, you know, our separation, I guess, from that greater cosmos.
Which perpetuates suffering.
Yep. On every individual, every being on the planet. So you could stop it now. Join Legacy today. All right. I'll read
Nice plug.
E.T. versus Alien. Yeah, I need to start. We also need to start getting trained for that because when we're on, like, you know, the big syndicated TV, got to put in them plugs. That'd be cool. All of us on the Joe Rogan podcast and around the table. That'd be fucking badass.
All right. Just 5 minutes there.
Drinking. She's like, tell me about the aliens. Like, all right, we got you.
About the whole Urantian thing.
Yeah.
Hey man, we're gonna be bigger than Joe Rogan.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
There
Like,
you go.
that's the goal.
spirit.
Amen, brother. That's the
There's
fucking
some
goal.
pride
Now
for
you're
you.
talking. No.
That's not pride.
Well,
That's
good
just that's a
questions.
revelation.
He doesn't have
baby.
answers.
That's motivation. That's
Right?
inspiration.
Like we're finding the answers to the questions. Joe is asking questions and having other people, you know,
Right.
give a perspective.
And we have the answers.
So as this unleashes, yeah, I would say is like people are looking for answers, informed perspectives, and we're not like pulling this information out of our like we're actually going out there. We are consolidating the best of the best material, no matter like what the cost, no matter what people want to tell you that these books are, no matter how many people say, oh, that's bullshit, or is that's just some occult new age XYZ, you shouldn't look at that, be careful, don't trust it. We're like, all right, we're gonna do the work. We're gonna sift through everything from low quality to high quality, and we're gonna find what's 4K.
Amen.
We're gonna hand it to you on a
8K.
platter and say, we've spent our whole lives searching, and this, and we're not gonna give you anything below 4K.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, fuck yeah.
That's it.
12G and above only.
Well put.
That's gangster. I'm gonna turn that into a reel in itself.
Fifth dimensional only.
That's a reel right there. All right. Moving on. My turn. Yay! I've been waiting for this moment. No, I'm just saying stupid shit. Alrighty. E.T. versus Alien. Now that you have learned the difference between an extraterrestrial and an alien, we would like you to forget the distinction immediately. The danger in the definitions is that, as mental concepts, they separate once again. This mission is not about separation, nor it is a Hollywood Western being performed by a cast of good guys and bad guys. It is about light and bringing more of it into the planet. The invitation to enter into the light is extended to all humankind, aliens included, for aliens are only extraterrestrials who have chosen to stand in the darkness, live a lie, and wear a disguise. Damn. Looking at you, Caligastia. At the time of this printing, there are only two basic types of people on this planet: extraterrestrials and aliens. Extraterrestrial is a transitional term which will become unnecessary by the completion of this mission. At that point, human will replace the term. An awareness of your extraterrestrial nature will then be an integral part of all human experience, and aliens will no longer occupy the planet. In the same manner, the other transitional terms, such as androgyny, will cease to have any meaning. A balanced male and female will emerge within every being. As a result, the word androgyny will be thrown on a trash heap, relegated to the status of a needless term that redundantly describes what it means to be human. Keep in mind that the definitions in this dictionary were written for a world in transition and are subject to reversion.
Again, we got clarification on the linguistic aspects, because people get so caught up on these terms. It just told us the difference between ET and alien, and then it's like, okay, now forget those terms.
Yep.
Because so often people they live and die on their definition of a term, and they'll argue with other people about what these words mean, and it's like, no, look at the concept behind the word and realize that you're bringing your context for this word, I'm bringing my context, and these are both very, very fluid. Yeah, words are loose. We use them because they have similar context, but at the end of the day, they are just we choose the meaning for words. The dictionary is we made it up.
Yeah,
It's our
based off
it's
of how we use
our
it.
it's a consensus.
Yeah.
It's a consensus meaning.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting note about androgyny, because
Yes.
in our interpretation of gender today is kind of with the gender politics, what you feel like identifying with. But ideally, men push off feminine responsibilities on women, and women push off all the masculine responsibilities on men.
Yep.
And going back to the responsibility thing, ideally, we're all in touch with our masculine and feminine side, and we're just real ass human beings. Becoming the best we can be.
Yeah, and that's an androgynous, for those who don't know. It means exhibiting masculine and feminine qualities. It can get confused a lot. I've heard it being used like that, and no, androgynous means, like me, I like to consider myself displaying the divine feminine and the divine masculine, because that's what a true male does. You must be soft, emotional, and understanding, as well as hard, ready for battle at all times, that kind of shit. You can't just shut off your feminine aspect. You must be kind. You must treat women kind, all that stuff, not just be a fucking dick, and that's manly. That's what androgynous, the perfected male is going to exhibit female characteristics. Jesus was the exhibition of both integrated, and he was the most manly man you could ever imagine, and every girl loved him. All the girls loved him. He was a ladies' man, so he's turning down chicks. For real. But that's what it is. So androgynous, not to be confused with transgenderism. All right, walk-in.
Most of you have probably heard of the term walk-in, but for the benefit of those who have been assigned to some real boondock outposts, we will explain its meaning. A walk-in is a member of the mission who has walked into a body that was previously occupied by another tenant. The main function of walk-ins is to assist ground crew members who came here in a more conventional manner to awaken to their true identity, hopefully before the mission is over. They retain much of their interdimensional consciousness and can move through dysfunctional patterns at an accelerated rate, making them invaluable to the numbed out and befuddled crew members who have been here their entire lives. The walk-ins are an expeditionary unit, most of whom will walk right back out once the task of awakening this planet is completed. Walk-ins are emissaries of the light who are serving in this mission's rendition of the foreign exchange program.
This is one of the harder concepts I have to reconcile in my mind in this book, but it's there.
Yeah, it's definitely a new age concept, like star seeds and that kind of stuff. The Urantia book doesn't necessarily go into that, but we'll take it. This person just throwing out all their highest concepts into a goofy book, so
Yeah. Into
But this
play.
is also, this walk-in concept is even more niche than starseeds, because the starseed concept, and that's kind of what this book kind of mostly plays on, that there's a lot
Starseed
more
concept, yeah.
starseeds than walk-ins, and that the walk-ins are,
Unique.
it's saying this foreign exchange program, like so it says that it's the main function of a walk-in is to assist ground crew members who came in a more conventional manner, which is through the birth system. So they were physically born, and that was their consciousness the entire time. But like in the walk-in sort of philosophy, and this basically comes from people who say, I have this personal experience where one day, like, it was actually like I arrived here in the body of another person, and we came to an agreement. That soul left, and now a different soul is actually in that body. So that's the context of walk-in. It's like it's a soul swap, and the walk-in
Yeah, that's interesting.
has some sort of knowledge of this. Like they have a sort of direct knowledge of this thing happened, but they do also the loose part that happens is that they do gain some sort of knowledge and memory from the previous soul, and so it's like they do integrate. And that's where, that's why this concept is so confusing, because it's like you also wonder, like, well, how do we measure psychological? Like, what is somebody just calling themselves a walk-in just because there's disassociation? That's like not something we can really determine. But like, if you want to dive into walk-in, there's some books where people, you got to find the best cases. The best case I actually have on this is, I would say it's called From Venus I Came, and it's by this lady who calls herself Omnek Onek. And this is similar to a walk-in, but it's almost different, because in that story a girl dies in a car accident, and her body has been replicated by a civilization on Venus, and they basically swap her out for the dead. So they swap this body out, like a physical body, and this body has a new consciousness from Venus, who actually grew up on Venus in the fifth dimension or the fourth dimension in the astral layer. But she incarnates into a physical form that is a replica of this other little girl who dies in a car accident. And so the ETs come down in a UFO. They grab the body of the other girl whose soul has already moved on. And now this girl from Venus, who has like a duplicated body that looks the same, enters the family of this human family. Now that's a super unique case.
Yeah,
but that's almost like a walk-in, but walk-in plus. That's like a whole other level, I would say.
Super unique way. I have a hard time reconciling this. The Urantia book and the Keys of Enoch don't really talk about this concept whatsoever, but we know that the Urantia book itself doesn't talk about a lot of things because there's a lot of red tape, and the angels can't reveal some things because of bureaucratic reasons. Their higher ups don't want shit revealed.
There could be all kinds of weird cases we just won't have time for.
I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure it's possible easily for the high up, like Michael can just it's possible to put personalities in different and walk in and take one out. I'm sure, but like the Urantia book doesn't talk about it. And
like an ethical regulation or something.
Exactly, like an asterisk, I'm sure there's a lot of special regulations and operations that are possible, but they're only used in circumstances, and like all the boxes have to be checked in order for that to even happen. This paragraph is implying that the members who came here in a more conventional manner, so it's already implying that the walk-in is a non-conventional manner. I don't know. I have a hard time understanding why a human being would do that, just walk out. immediately my mind goes, you probably won't be able to join the finality corps. So like, why would you do that? That sucks. Like again, another thing is Taylor gave a good example. The most famous example that I know, which also rubs me the wrong way, not in a bad way, in a good way. I have a hard time reconciling it because I like this person. Drunvalo Melchizedek claims to be a walk-in.
Oh yeah.
And
okay.
I really like his teachings. I really like everything he says, and it's almost like, because I know about the Melchizedeks and you want to believe, but like,
Yeah.
really, like this person was like, okay, yeah, I'll leave right now and you can come in. Like, that's kind of weird, and like this doesn't seem benevolent to me. It doesn't seem like a benevolent
It
being.
sounds like a possession, but
yeah, but why would
There-
you
there's,
steal an evolutionary mortal's life? Like, why? Like, that's not cool.
yeah, like
Well,
taking candy from a kid.
So this is, I think the explanation for this is that we have a sort of alternate ascension program that has been on this planet for a while. And so some souls are allegedly reincarnated. Some souls actually, I've read that they come into this life and they have a certain set of lessons that they're supposed to experience. And they just need to get that done. And that's what's most important for them. And so if they get that done in the first like 30, 40 years of their life, they're good to go. They don't need to spend the rest of their life. Now, a new soul should get an entire mortal life. That's how it's supposed to be. But if you're not a new soul, if you are on this alternate ascension program, this weird reincarnation thing that might be happening here, like you come back in, first 40 years of your life, you get what you need to be done, and then you're like, okay, I need to move on to my next step. And now, and so I guess the angelic cosmic administration is like, okay, they're going to move out and we're going to send in a foreign exchange student who can use their body and their life that's been set up. They need to complete a specific mission that didn't require them to, incarnate as a baby per se. So that's the context for how this is happening and how it's not necessarily negative, but of course, there's a lot of questions. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, right.
Kind of a pop culture reference to that was in Supernatural. There was a dude who had tried to make his body like a vessel for Archangel Michael, and then he like finally gets it. He's like, "You're the chosen one," and kicks him out. Then you get this Archangel Michael just living in some dude. Kind of a goofy example, but it's an example where it's popped up on a TV show.
We're going to get to that later. They call that the savior complex.
The Messiah
A lot of
complex.
people suffer from that.
All right, this next part is what I more agree with, but who wants to take it?
All right, I'll get it. Crawlin. Even the most urbane and knowledgeable members of the mission will not have heard of the term Crawlin because we just made it up. Crawlins are planetary transition team members who opted to enter this plane through the normal, currently traumatic birth process. Upon arriving, most of them instantly reevaluated the situation and changed their minds, but were unable to figure out a way back. The majority of this group incarnated shortly after World War II, their advent being triggered by the Manhattan Project's birthing of the nuclear age and the subsequent atomic bombing of Japan. They are referred to as the war baby crop or baby boomers by the unsuspecting local population. The Crawlins are the backbone of this mission. If you are reading this, you are most likely one of them. The Crawlins are the ones that necessitated the writing of this manual.
Huh.
So none of us, I don't think any of us are that old.
I'm a crawl-in.
Maybe Mr. Lucky. Yeah, that you could be a Crawlin. So
Well,
most of us are second generation, but
yeah, second gen crawlins.
second generation here.
Yeah. We're probably like third generation crawlins
Could be.
because our parents were born from the baby boomers.
Now, this claim about the World War II time frame, you could try and figure that into the external claims about when the adjudication, certain adjudication processes from the Lucifer Rebellion, the subtle lifting of quarantine, maybe that also necessitated or allowed these Crawlins and extraterrestrial volunteers to come in. Because again, we are supposed to be integrated with the cosmos through like both a physical and a spiritual presence here on Earth. But that mission defaulted, failed, and has basically become invisible. now there's only like a small percentage of the angels that were here that are like working, and yeah, so that's sort of the background story for like why maybe we're getting this extra unconventional help.
Yeah, exactly. And I've read somewhere else, and I kind of just put it together in my mind. You know, the prime directive, you can't really alter the free will evolution of a species who's of a lower evolutionary level than you are. You know, like the prime directive for Star Trek, you can't just land on a planet and start fucking them up. But a way to bypass this, I guess, is to if you're an exterior force trying to alter the spiritual economy of a planet, that's a no-no. But if you incarnate and become one of the people, you earn your position to alter the planetary economy because you've earned your stripes as being one of them, as opposed to being an external force that's trying to, you know, push your agenda on them. And that one of the emergency operations that Michael's currently using, just this is theorizing, is you know, send a lot of high adjusters onto the planet, and then they would finish the mission as boots on the ground people, you know, because you're bypassing that external force. You're not forcing. You're not taking over anybody's free will. The beings are actually becoming the people, and then we're doing it organically as the people, and it makes sense. Like that's a good emergency plan, I think.
There's no other way,
Also
right?
avoids like the negatives of colonization, you could say, you know, from an ET race. It avoids the negatives because it forces you to live in the shoes of the natives, to become like, you know, in the way that some missionaries, like, they go like live in the other country, they like learn all the stuff, but like this is on another level. It's like you don't even get to remember that like you might have had some other galaxy or system. Like you got to go in there, and so all you have is a sort of I think I was just talking with this on Twitter, is like you don't have access to your linear event-based memory of like memories of like places you may have been in the cosmos beforehand. But what you do have access to is your abstract values, which are a part of your soul's evolutionary growth.
Yeah.
And your thought adjuster could also technically bring or hold all the knowledge of your previous experiences while you live this other experiential sort of journey, special mission, doing an Earth experience as like a native and participating. And so again, you know, some people seem to be like born into this life with their entire life, you know, they operate by maybe a separate set of ideals that didn't purely come from their social encoding or their environment,
or their parents, or anything.
and maybe like that could be this sort of subconscious or superconscious effect of having a previous, I guess, soul growth and incarnating into this planet as a continuation of their universal career.
Yeah, that brings to mind this example. Terrence McKenna was talking about, and of course, he was talking about the psychedelic experience, but he says there's two kinds of people that will visit somewhere and say they know the place. There are the people who will pass through a location while they're transitioning at the airport, hopping from one plane to another. They might step out of the airport for a second and look around. Then you got the people who actually move there and live there and marry the locals and taste the food and experience the local life and culture of the area. And likewise, like, you can't really know Earth unless you're living here.
Unless you're living there. Yeah.
I don't think you can fully understand this place from an outside perspective otherwise.
Yeah. And if you're looking at it from like Caligasty Luciferian point of view, they're trying to take over the planet externally through government forces, you know, through brainwashing the population and media and all this kind of stuff. And they're always on the lookout for the celestials of Michael to appear in the skies, you know, and they're waiting for the ships, they're waiting for the Seraphim to show up. It's a clever way for Michael to be like, oh, you can keep looking up there if you want. I'm going to infiltrate behind the scenes through like babies, you know, and you're not going to see us coming. We're going to come as humans, as little babies, you know, and you're not going to be able to stop that. They're not coming in glory on ships. They're coming as babies, and there's a lot of them, you know.
Special operations.
Exactly, yeah. That's
They're
badass.
spies,
Yeah. Yep.
agents,
Secret,
man.
Yeah. Time traveling secret agents. Secret agents from another
That's it.
dimension. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Feeling like
Trying to get
James
that
Bond.
Total Recall back.
Totally
Figure
recall.
out
Hey.
what we're really doing here. I mean, I have this little bit where I'm like, just like see what happens when the intelligence forces of all the different countries figure out that like extraterrestrials are incarnating here. What are they going to think of that? They're going to be totally plus be like, well, can't stop it. Like they're already here. They're among us. But again, we avoid the colonization practices that you can fall into by leaving our event memory behind. Because again, and you see this happen. Like some people that do claim to have memories of like other galaxies and lives, like sometimes it abstracts them. They kind of have this sensation where it's like, oh, I'm actually an ET from another galaxy, so like I'm sort of above this whole thing, this whole participation, this toxic planet. Like I'm just here to teach you what's real, and that's where you get into the savior complex problem. And in this book, they talk about, they'll get into like things like that. But like you see that, and that's part of why the New Age community gets pretty cringy, because you get these personalities and egos that are like, I'm this ET from Nebula,
Yeah, goddamn.
Nebula Febula 6Z, and it's
And they start speaking
it's just
angelic
like,
light
all right,
languages.
that's great, but like
Yeah.
you have to be able to participate with the people that are here. So it's probably better that you don't have that memory, because
Yeah.
it makes you unbearable. It makes yourself, your sense of importance so unbearable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those things have infected the Urantia movement quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Actually.
Look at Gabriel Urantia, but we don't want to talk about
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
yeah, that or the what was it, the 1111 forums or something, where people are constantly channeling new Urantia Book entities and writing it out in forum posts.
Yeah. Gets wild. It's a wild west out there on the internet, boys. So if you're watching this video and you're getting all hyped up, keep that fire, but stay alert. Keep your head on a swivel, because there's a lot of bullshit out there too.
Yeah.
UFO, who wants to read it?
I can take it.
Kill it.
All right.
Stab it. multiple times.
Some people on this planet are certain that UFOs are currently visiting this place. Most people feel that this is an absurd allegation of a marginal group whose members are basically nuts. This perception is backed by governmental agencies that swear that UFOs do not exist and have tons of highly classified information to prove it. The UFO advocates justly point out that no government needs secret files on something that doesn't exist. They find it equally absurd for governmental agencies to simultaneously refuse to release such files on the grounds that national security is at stake. Most people haven't given this slight inconsistency any thought, going along with the party line under the assumption that the government wouldn't lie and that, quote, father knows best. Big daddy government.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's kind of changing up now. This is interesting because this was written in 95, but now it's like actually coming out where the government's acknowledging it. And it's like, are they playing some kind of, some kind of chess, some kind of 5D chess? Exactly. Like, what are they trying to do here? Mission Control would like to put this matter to rest. The UFO faction is made up of what we call the, quote, nuts and bolts people. They are still intrigued with third-dimensional phenomena and are consequently missing the boat while looking for ships. Those who believe there is nothing to believe have been basically brainwashed by official discrediting of the question and are equally off track. The governmental agencies are lying through their teeth and are therefore most off base of all three factions. Third-dimensional vehicles from other planets do, of course, exist. However, they are not the ships you should be preoccupied with. If an object can be identified as an unidentified flying object, it is not one of the craft that we control, nor is it a member of the Royal Celestial Air Force fleet that is the right arm of this mission. Our craft are not third-dimensional. However, they are in a position throughout your skies at this moment. Ooh. They land wherever and whenever they wish, and they are not using an invisibility cloak to hide their presence. They are blatantly in the open, visible to the few who have broken through the blindness that inflicts the third dimension.
They didn't even cloak. We just can't see them.
We just can't see it, man. We're just so distorted. They're there. That's pretty wild. We do not mean to
And there's a parallel
trivialize.
in the Urantia book that when they were at 533 Diversey Parkway, some of the beings couldn't even see the building they were in.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
There's multiple levels of reality, of perception of reality that beings have. Some beings have, and other beings don't have.
Mhm.
And I was reading recently that even animals' vision. Animals can see light spectrums that we can't see.
Oh, yeah.
Even
believe it.
mammals that have sensory perceptions that are beyond what we can even see and imagine. Like dogs, obviously, they can smell. They got dogs that can smell diseases. They can. So to think about the perception of the different creatures in the universe is mind blowing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you just compare the spectrum of how we perceive, especially with light, the spectrum of light in terms of frequency is enormous. It's huge. And what we see is very minuscule. And it's probably similar with our other senses as well. We see just a small band of what is truly out there. And maybe that's other dimensions. It's just literally other frequencies that are on the spectrum.
Yeah. They found a magnetite in ducks and geese eyes. They found it. It's microscopic. It's actually a magnetic rock that floats in their cornea, pupils, or whatever, that part of your eye, and it reacts to magnetic fields. So when they're flying, they can see magnetic fields on the planet, and they can just follow them.
That's
Makes
how
sense.
they can migrate
That's how they can
north
migrate.
and south.
Yeah, and like think about it, on another planet, experimental planet, or just another evolutionary planet. Maybe the beings have that in their eyes. You know,
That's amazing.
and
And they
Just
don't
different tools.
Oh, I have a really cool video to share with you guys. There's something called a ferrocell, in which you use a ferrofluid and you put it in between two pieces of glass, and you put a light around it. And this very thin layer of ferrofluid ends up acting as like a 3D hologram, and it can help you see magnetic fields.
Oh, that's cool.
In the way that it disperses with light. It looks wild. It's like, I've never seen it before, and like understanding the invisible electromagnetic reality, it's so cool. I'm gonna build one, but
that's so sick.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool. So
I'll post it in the
even though
chat.
it's between the glass, it creates a 3-dimensional shape around the two plates
Yeah,
of
it
glass.
looks 3-dimensional. In the glass, you see the image, but it looks 3-dimensional, even though it's like a flat surface.
That's wild. Yeah, that's cool.
And it shows like the toroid shapes of magnets. You get that you know that geometry thing where it's like a bunch of circles, overlapping circles.
Yeah.
You can get that to form if you use the right magnetic pattern.
Oh, that's cool.
Send it over.
Kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch, but way more advanced.
Yeah.
I like how they talk about they acknowledge the existence of 3-dimensional extraterrestrial vehicles from other planets, but they're not nearly on the same level as the Royal Celestial Air Force Fleet. You know, so
Makes sense.
different types of vehicles.
That just goes to show how juvenile we are in our understanding. Like, we think those are advanced.
Exactly.
UFOs. That's some advanced technology. Like, nah, man. You have no idea. That's crazy. If you could see it
right now.
It's pretty interesting because it seems to imply maybe a lot of the ships out there could be visitors, or honestly just probes, like unmanned probes, those ones you see that go into lava and stuff like that. And then there could
drones.
be whole levels to it, like angels and angelic forces and fleets and all that we just are on such a higher level. We never will see them as UFOs, yet they're right in front of us.
Hidden in plain sight.
Well,
there's levels.
There's approximately 1 billion celestial beings on this planet right now, you know, and basically they're undetected mostly by anything that we have, but they must have places, areas where they congregate, where they, you know, meet up or have something. It's just amazing that there's that many of them around, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. That's wild.
Keep it going.
Yeah, we do not mean to trivialize your third dimensional experience or discredit the craft which travel that dimension. There are many very sweet entities in the third dimension who are assisting with this mission. However, their vehicles are definitely in the General Motors branch of this expedition and are not representatives of the mighty force of the fifth dimensional craft that now grid your planet's atmosphere. As you awaken, the presence of other dimensional craft will become obvious and fill you with awe. As a result, the contested issue of the 3D UFO will fade in interest, just as the Model T Ford no longer thrills you or occupies your thoughts. Interesting. The purpose of this piece is not to define UFO, but to clear up some of the planetary provincialism that surrounds this issue. It is also to help prepare you for the upcoming scandal of Cosmic Gate, a disclosure of the intergovernmental cover-up of extraterrestrial presence that is soon to be exposed globally. Seems to be happening right now.
Yeah, for real.
Because this entry serves another function, and it is not a true definition, no part of it warranted highlighting. For clarity, we now offer a brief description of the dimensions. The third dimension is the one you are currently living in and transiting out of. It is the one you consider the sum total of reality. The fourth dimension is sometimes referred to as the astral plane and exists as a shadow dimension to the third. Like the third, it is also a dimension of polarity and is inhabited by what you call spirits and disembodied entities. This dimension has fallen out of favor with the thinking of the scientific materialism and has been reduced to the ranks of a primitive, superstitious belief, a belief that permeated human myth until you all smartened up and dismissed it. You may be surprised to learn that the truth does not require your belief in it in order to function, and the fourth dimension has managed to carry on despite your rejection. The fifth dimension appears in your symbol systems as heaven. And compared to the third dimension, it is. It is a dimension of light, of love, and it is free of the illusions of duality and separation. The fifth dimension is in no way the end of the line. It is just the next step in your planetary evolution. Creation actually contains an infinite number of dimensions, many of which you inhabit simultaneously. We hope that clears this matter up for you. It does, somewhat. Interesting. It's like we can only go 5. We can only somewhat internalize 5 at this point.
Yeah.
6, it's like, don't even worry about that, guys. Don't. You got a long way to get there.
This concept of dimension, people also, they like try and live and die on a certain definition of dimension. If you're into mathematical or physics, you're like, oh, the fourth dimension is supposed to be time. Like, there's all these ways to say what dimension means. We pretty much all agree that 3 dimensions make sense because we know XYZ movement. You know, we can go forward, backward, up, and down. So that makes sense to us. Once we get to the fourth dimension, if you're being mathematical, you trying to apply different principles. This is sort of like, I don't know, I think of it more of like, to understand this concept of dimensions, it's more like bandwidths of perceptual reality. And so our common bandwidth of perception is this 3-dimension XYZ movement. It's a physical body. But the, I guess, fourth dimension, like when people astral project, you know, they're still moving around in an XYZ 3-dimensional space, but you could say that time runs differently there, or you know, even the experience of flying in an out-of-body experience suggests that your relationship to gravity is different, probably because you are in an energy form that doesn't have mass. When you have no mass, you can move at the speed of light. And so to be in an energy form like that, that also means your experience of time, if you're moving at the speed of light, now you get time dilation effects. Interstellar movie does it great. You know, you could leave your planet in an interstellar craft traveling at light speed, and when you come back, 100 years have passed and all your friends are old, but your body has only molecularly aged not very long because you were moving at the speed of light. So yeah, when thinking about these concepts of dimensions, I think it's better to say a bandwidth of experience, your perception experience.
there's also the dimension of scale, that the microbiome scale, when we started out, we were this big. We were tiny entities in the belly of our moms. And so there's a whole nother dimension of stuff that's going on a scale that we can hardly imagine, a microscopic scale of the microbiome in our gut and the viruses that are perpetuating around us and mutating. They just barely discovered those with the microscopes that they got going now. So there's so much that is occurring that's outside our normal scope of consciousness. The scale of it, which is, when you scale out to the infinity of the universe from the microbe level, it's an amazing dimensions.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like the 7 adjutant mind spirits are responsible for the lower parts of life, like bacteria, all the way up to the higher beings like us, and those could be considered dimensions.
Yeah, and some of the life forms that live in such harsh environments. There's microbiome that can live in almost boiling water or down at the bottom of the ocean. They're so adaptable to different environments. It's kind of amazing.
Hell yeah. So thanks for coming along on this journey with us on ET 101. This is just the first chapter. Chapter 2 will be out soon. So if you love the book, go buy yourself a copy and keep listening to these episodes if you want to know all the nitty gritty and how it connects to the other wild texts out there. After all, this is the Forbidden Scrolls. Again, if you haven't pressed subscribe, or if you joined halfway through, press the subscribe button so that you're up to date with all the content we're releasing. If you love what we're talking about, leave a comment. If you hate what we're talking about, leave a comment. Show your homies, show your mom, show your grandma. Do all that good stuff. I'm joined by my brother, Gary Lee Haskins. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, you're fucking up. Go check it out. And also press that subscribe button. Magma Sloth below me, Mr. Lucky, Taylor Verser, Tay Chilla. All of their information is going to be in the description. You know me, I'm D-Bake, Instagram, all that good stuff. Follow the spirit. Be part of the forces of light. Does anybody else got anything to say?
That was good. I like that.
Enjoy the convergence.
Let's be with you.
May the force be with you with the Star Trek symbol. Thanks, Magma, you asshole. All right. That's it. I'm just done recording, so cool.